Welcome to 100 Yards of Football, and this is our legend segment this evening. And I got two of the greatest ball players out of the Delray Beach, Florida area. I got Mr. Clarence Head Robinson and Mr. Robert McNair, two defensive stalwarts out of Delray Beach. Hey guys, welcome to the show.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Hey man, let me tell you something, man. I want to say thank you, man, because you guys really don't know how you guys inspired the generation behind you guys, right? And we love Carver High. Those of us who didn't get the opportunity to play at Carver High, watching you guys play, watching Coach Coffey lead you guys, and hey man, it's a pleasure for you guys to be on the show with me tonight. I'm like a kid in a candy store tonight, man. so if I see a little giddy, a little happy, that's why I got you guys on tonight, man. So let's get into it, man. You know, I've been finding out some very interesting things about football or sports in general out of Delray Beach. I was just privy to some information about a month ago about Mr. Pompey when he started the whole athletic program at Carver, right? And he started back in 1944. And I'm just looking at some of the people, some of the names, some of the great teams he coached, man. And so I get it now. I get it. How come you guys evolved into what you did as players because of those guys before you as well, right?
Right. Okay.
Oh, absolutely, man. But see, my generation, all we knew was the last 2 years of Carver High football. And that included you two guys. Right. And so I'm excited to have you guys on, man. You know, we tried to, when we integrated, of course, half the kids in Delray went to Boca High, and then half of us went to Atlantic High, right? Right there in Delray.
They split everybody up.
Yeah, they split everybody up. But you know what? Hey, it's amazing. I sit back and I think, now we were real good at Atlantic. We were talented. But most of the football players I played rock ball with who went to Boca, man, those are some real dudes, right?
Right.
I mean, some real dudes. So I couldn't imagine what it would have been like having all of us together, like y'all were together, right? Not only was all of Delray playing at Carver, you had guys from Lake Worth, guys from Boynton, and Boca.
Right.
All y'all playing together. And so, and I go, well, man, what do? You sit the bench, but from what I'm told, you just had to wait your time. Right?
Okay.
You just had to wait your
basically
time.
what it was.
You had to wait your time.
Yeah.
So I'm interested. You guys grew up, tell me if I'm wrong, started playing football in the streets in that Teen Town Center. Is that right?
Right. Yes.
Not for me.
Not for you? How did you start, Robert? How did you start playing?
I grew up on what they call the right, wrong side of town. Okay.
Okay.
I didn't get involved with football until I was in the 8th grade. My 7th grade year, I was in the band.
Okay.
And when I saw what was happening on the football field, I said, forget band. I want to play some football.
Exactly, right?
So in the 8th grade, I went out,
Mm-hmm.
and I, Artis Johnson, and a guy named Johnny McClam, they call him Clam Bam.
Okay.
We were the battering rams.
Wow.
We were the ones that people like Eugene Hanna and others used to beat up on.
I love it, man. I love it.
But it made us tough, though. It made us tough.
Right. But I I started out playing sandlot.
Okay.
Right there with Randy's father, Zach.
Zach Strong. Okay.
Yeah, I started out playing sandlot with him.
Okay.
And went from there.
Went from there. But it's amazing. So even when I was a kid, street football was king. I mean, street football was king. And so I lived I'm going to say pretty much as a young kid, I lived in Carver Park for a little bit. And then we moved to 12th Avenue, Southwest 12th Avenue. And so I lived right behind Coach Coffey's. Coach Coffey lived on 13th, and we lived in a duplex on 12th. Mm-hmm. And so to this day, I don't know if y'all know this or not, Larry Coffey is my best friend in the world.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's my boy. And so I was able to go to their house and really get inspired and dream big because Coach Coffey was always coaching. You know that, right?
Right.
I mean, when he was talking in his sleep, he was coaching. You know, that's the kind of guy he was. And so just being able to spend time in that house, man, it was all over me, man. It was all over me and Larry. And so we grew up and all that kind of stuff. But we stayed over there, and I played street football on 12th, and I played on 13th with Larry.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then my relatives live on the north side of town. Y'all remember Edith Bennett?
Yes, that was my classmate.
All right.
Yeah.
Edith was your classmate,
Classmate.
right?
Yes.
And Edith is really my cousin, but I call her my aunt because she raised my mother was raised in a home like their sister.
Right.
Even though they were cousins, they call each other sisters to this day. And so I played on that street on Northwest 6th Avenue. And then I had a cousin, Tony Scott, that lived on 11th Avenue, right in front of Bump Mitchell. I played football over there. So I was all over the place playing football.
Yeah. You was all over playing football. Yeah. Where you went.
But hey, it's Delray. That's what we do.
Right.
And so just like Robert, just like you just said, you were in the band, but football was contagious in Delray.
Yes, it was.
That's exactly right. My brother, who was 15 years older than me, he played with the older guys.
Okay.
And the field that they played on, I'm not sure if you remember what a city hall is.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
That used to be the practice field.
Oh,
And
okay.
That's what
And Randy had a cousin that lived across the street.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes Randy used to come down and we used to play sandlot there. I have a scar on my right foot where Randy was down one day playing tag football, and he had baseball cleats on, and the cleat came across my right foot. Close to the vein, I could have bled out, but thank God it didn't.
Well, hey, that sounds just like Randy, though, right?
Yep.
So let me say this, man. Let me say this. When I was a kid, I was in the 4th and 5th grade watching you guys play, right? And to me, Carver High, the last 2 years, you know, when I look at the team, it's almost like you guys were an all-star team. You know, you had no holes in the team. You had no holes on defense. You had no holes on offense. And you were the greatest kicker of all time.
Yep.
Right? And so there was no when you were kicking the ball off head, there was no returns.
I'm talking about, you know, I kicked it out of the stadium.
You kicked it out of there.
I kicked it out. You know, there was no return.
And you know, I want to get into that too with you because you were multi-talented, right? I thought you were a headhunter defensive end as well.
I used to do some bad things out there.
I remember watching you out there. Hey, listen, Robert, I can see Head right now clotheslining people. You know, it's like he won't gonna tackle you right. He gonna put that dirty on you.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, I used to do some bad things out there.
You do some bad things out there, right?
Some bad things.
And
But
so
I played it, though. I played the position.
Oh, you played the position.
I played the position.
And it was amazing because nobody wanted to run around your end because, man, it wasn't going to be right.
Nah.
And then if you turned it in, God doggone Randy was going to clean up everything, boy.
Right.
That's right. That's right.
Hey, listen.
And Jeff Graham, you remember David Graham?
I remember David Graham. Yes, sir.
Behind me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, man.
Coming around there.
So I look at the team. It's like it's an all-star team. But what I'm learning, because when you guys start in the 8th grade, the 9th grade, you're sitting and you're watching, you're waiting your turn. But because of the talent pool and because you're competing in practice the way you are, by the time you guys become juniors and seniors,
you was ready.
Bro, y'all were ready.
Oh, yeah, we're ready.
Yeah, we ready.
Y'all were ready.
Yeah,
And that's the power.
We have to wait our time.
You have to wait your time.
Yeah,
And see, I didn't understand that when I started, before I had some information, because Eugene Hanna was on the show. And I was asking him, man, what do you do with all that talent? He said, you wait.
you know, I remember I was coming out of ninth grade.
Mm-hmm.
Like Eugene Hatter and Dog Man, all you know, Buzzer and
Dog
all
Man,
those
yes,
guys,
sir.
they was playing.
Yes, sir.
And like, you know, I was coming out of ninth grade and I was moving up for next year.
Right.
Some guys made me quit. I said, I ain't coming out here no more. They made me quit. I stopped. I said, no, I'm not going out there. But after they left, you know, here come my time. You know,
Here come your time.
time.
Hey, man.
We went from there.
Man, I'm telling you, man. So I got this information. So, you know, as a kid in Delray, you know, I played rock ball. Red Odom coached me. He was one of the guys. Walt Stevens coached me with the Rocks. You know, of course, Bump Mitchell was my first coach. And so I never knew, you know, I knew they played ball, but I never knew to what, how high they was in the game or how good they were in the game. And so you have guys like Bump Mitchell, who's an all-conference quarterback, right? Red Odom was all-world at Carver High, you know, as a punter and as a middle linebacker, right? And so a lot of these people I'm getting to know. Tank Johnson. I didn't know Tank Johnson played at Carver, but he played. You know, Al Sutton played at Carver. You know, I mean, I can just go the names and names. I just found out that my high school basketball coach, Reggie Dobard, he was my high school basketball coach my last 3 years at Atlantic. Josh Smith was my basketball coach as a freshman. And,
okay.
Yeah, Coach Smith. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And so, you know, it's just amazing, man, that Reggie Dobard was an all-conference defensive end. I just thought he was a basketball player. I never knew that, right? So I'm just finding these things out, you know.
Yeah, those were the guys. Those were the guys that was way back there.
Way back there, right?
You have so many guys that started in the beginning,
right?
That were legends, that were a whole lot better than we were.
Wow.
Okay. They were bigger.
Wow.
They were tougher. They didn't play around.
Right.
And you know, when I look back at it, because when I first went out there, a lot of them were there.
Mm-hmm.
Miller C. Berry, George Sutton.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see, what's the guy named? Minio Glinton. Those guys were huge.
Wow.
Okay. And I'm talking to somebody today, they say, Robert, they were big because you were small.
Right. Like 176 pounds.
That's how much you weighed in high school? Hey.
Yeah, about 176.
What about you, Robert? How much you weighed in high school?
I weighed 168.
And you played nose guard?
I played defensive nose guard. Nobody was coming through that center.
But you know what's amazing, right? I think that's especially on the high school level, a nose guard who's fast and quick, you know, and can get in that gap, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I played with a guy at Atlantic. He just passed, God rest his soul, about 3 weeks ago, named Larry Cooks.
Okay.
He was a bad joker, 165. But he was tough now, Robert. He was tough, right?
He was
he was tough. But we never played with a guy that weighed more than 165 at nose guard at my high school league.
Okay.
So I can imagine you out there, Robert, filling those gaps and getting those holes and things like that.
But Robert, he wasn't a quitter. I mean, you got to block him. You got.
Oh yeah, you got to block him.
He would not give up.
Now I'm gonna tell you something. What I heard about Robert, right? Now see, now, hey, you would have to be my witness in this. I heard Robert put more people in the hospital.
Come on, y'all need to stop that now.
Than anybody.
He wasn't quit. He was not a quitter.
Hey, Robert, that's what I heard, man. I don't know. I wasn't there.
Right.
Well, all I can tell you, one afternoon we were practicing on the east side of the campus. And Coach Coffey was trying to get me ready for a play that they were going to play in the game. And I was playing, I think, left guard. And I think it was a 24 trap. And Gopher was running the ball.
Slowest thing in the world.
If you miss this block, I'm going to tear you up. And they ran that play in practice. And I did what I was supposed to do.
Right.
We got in the game. I still did that. I still ran it. and Gopher got through.
Okay.
But also that same afternoon,
We could get through. Gopher was slow. That's why we called him Gopher.
He was slow.
He couldn't get through the hole.
What?
but that afternoon, as we were practicing, they had a pitch out around the right side. And see, I played left guard. And I came around and I hit somebody.
You broke Smoke leg, I think. Yeah,
And so, and so Coach Smith say, he said it was a clean hit. And I said, okay, practice was over. but the funny thing about it, Coach Caulfield always went around to different ones home to make sure they were in the bed at a certain time or in the house. I don't ever remember Coach coming to my house.
What?
Okay? That's right.
No.
Really? Go
He
on,
never
man.
came to my house. But I guarantee you that night, after that happened, I was in the bathroom, in the tub. Coach came to my house in the bathroom where I was.
What?
He said, Robert, you all right? I said, yeah, Coach, I'm all right.
Hey, man.
And the next day I went to school, the first thing I heard, leg breaker.
I spoke about it. Smoke will tell you.
Hey, man. Now, here, let me ask you this, man, because so I'm thinking about it, right? And I know how it was when I was in high school, and I know how me and Larry was, right? We were very competitive. We were boys, but we were trying to knock each other out in practice. I tell you that right now.
Yeah.
You know, we were working, trying to get it in, and so with all the talent y'all had, we just talking about like Robert just talking about practice. How competitive it was in practice, man. Speak on how competitive your practice.
It was real competitive. I mean, it was real competitive. I mean,
Just going at it.
Yeah,
In other words, you couldn't fake it.
That's what made us good. We were real competitive.
That's what made you great. I'm telling you, man. Hey, man, I'm gonna tell you one of the biggest disappointments in my life that I never got a chance to wear that blue and white with that red stripe down my pants and play for Carver High School or play for Coach Coffey. At least he got a chance to coach some of the guys in Delray when he went to Boca.
Right.
But man, I ain't never get that chance, man. I ain't never get that chance, and that was disappointing. But
it's all a good thing. Coach Coffey, he's a good man.
Man, and here's the thing I know, especially, playing football, as long as I play football, here's what I know. When you play for men who got their foot in your back, they pushing you forward, you're going to be the best player that you can be.
Yeah.
When I look back over, especially in the pros, when I played for guys who were like what they call player coaches, you don't run condition after practice. You don't do this. Man, you play all right, but you don't play to your full potential.
Right.
Unless you got somebody driving you or pushing you toward a goal, right? And so people like Bump Mitchell was that guy for me at the Delray Rocks.
Right.
Ain't no doubt about it. I call him Roger Coffey on the little league level. Because he was pushing. Hey, Robert, when I tell you he was pushing us when we were 10 years old, we were getting it, man. And practice was very competitive. And, Larry Coffey always say this. He said when he used to go to y'all practice, because he used to be at practice almost every day, right? Because he was like one of the little ball boys, right? He said he thought Randy was a dirty player. And he said that because Randy was just like, he going 100 miles an hour, full steam ahead on every play.
Yes, sir.
And if you go around the corner tiptoeing, if you go around the corner tiptoeing, he gonna knock you out.
Yeah.
Gonna get lit up.
Yeah.
And I didn't know Randy like that, but I should see Randy around town, man. Right?
Wasn't nothing to play with.
Man, he had that look on his face, man. Hey, man, Randy had us all scared, man.
He was 100% every play.
Every play. Always played that way. And so, but some of us, to be that way, we need the right kind of coaching behind us to push us to that level.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody don't work like that 100% of the time.
That's right.
You know, you got to have the right kind of leadership directing you like that. And so you had Coach Coffey, you had PJ Henson.
Yeah. Coach Henson.
That's right.
Nate Collins.
Nate Collins.
Yeah, we had some good coaches out there.
Man, you had some great coaches, and I'm
Yes,
I'm telling you, at Atlantic, Coach Henson was on the staff when I was at Atlantic.
Right.
He was a defensive line coach.
Yeah.
You remember Ed Harris who played at Seacrest?
yes.
Ed Harris was our offensive line and linebackers coach.
He was linebacker coach.
Right. And do y'all remember a guy named Steve Harden? He played quarterback at Seacrest.
Yeah, I remember all those guys.
Well, Steve Harden was my quarterback coach at Atlantic. And Coach Wilder was the head coach. And it was no joke out there.
Right.
It was no joke. I mean, it was hard nosed.
Coaches out there also. You had good coaches too at Atlantic.
We had really good coaches. We had really good coaches. And so
I knew all those guys.
Yeah, we had really good coaches.
I knew all of them.
All right, so let's talk a little bit, guys, about first of all, Head, how did you get the nickname Head? Explain that to me.
I don't know.
Look at that head. You can tell the reason how. Just look at the head.
I think I got a bald head. And my head is really clean.
But everybody back then wore Junior Caesars or bald heads, right?
But my head was really clean.
Okay. So that, all right.
The guy had put some bubble gum in the top of my head. I was pulling my hair out. You remember Stick, the barbershop?
Yeah, yes, Stick right there on Fifth Avenue.
Clean. He's pretty clean, man. I'm talking about it was shining.
I love it, man.
They just went to call him Head. They said they couldn't see.
All right, now, okay, so
it was blinding them.
All right, so here's what I understand now. I understand you got another nickname. How you get the nickname Dap? Where'd that come from?
My time at Bethune.
Okay.
The way I walk. The way I walk.
You over there pimp daddy walk?
Yeah, I don't see nothing funny about the way I walk. I was Dap, So they called me Dap Daddy.
That's funny, man. That's funny. That's great, man. So, all right. So now, back in the days of segregation, when y'all were at Carver, when all the black athletes played at the black high schools, I mean, the guys y'all were facing every weekend, schools like Roosevelt, schools like Kennedy,
tough, all of them tough.
Schools like Lake Shore,
tough.
Schools like Ely and Pompano. Right. So talk about competing against talent like that. I mean, and you guys seem to be, every time you line up, I mean, you guys were on your game week in and week out. Mm-hmm. And so I think the only two losses I remember was y'all lost to Kennedy one year and you lost to Ely one year. Is that right?
Yeah,
that's right.
Actually, Ely stole that game.
Ely stole that one. They stole that one.
Ely stole that one. The referee.
The referee.
Because he got hit in the head with a helmet at the end of the game.
What?
Right, during the game.
Yes, sir.
Before the game was over.
Wow. Wow.
Because he called a bad play.
Right.
He called a bad play. That's right.
Wow, man. That's crazy, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was a bad play.
But I want to say this, though. When I think about that time, right? And I didn't know this. I'm like I said, I'm learning things as I talk with people. It was the first time your junior year had that you guys were allowed to compete for in the state playoffs.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. The state playoffs were not integrated, so to speak, before then, right? And so y'all get in there and not only ran the table and won back-to-back state titles, but a lot of people don't talk about the things y'all had to endure, facing some of the white schools, right?
That's right.
So if y'all would, talk a little bit about that.
Well, we heard of racism,
mm-hmm.
but it was another thing to experience it.
Yes.
The times we had to take those trips,
mm-hmm.
we couldn't, the best thing for us to do was not to go in that cafeteria and eat.
Mm.
Sometimes we had to dress on the bus.
Oh, wow.
And sometimes I know the last game, we got on the bus from the field and came home. That was we went to play Williston.
And wait a minute now,
Yes,
but Williston is like a what, like a 5-hour drive to Delray?
Yes, sir.
You're talking about the time we went to Fort Myers.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're talking about, Robert?
No, the one time we went to Williston to play the championship.
Okay, we had problems.
In my year.
There also. Williston, Fort Myers, we had problems.
Wow.
Yeah. And on that night going to Williston, it was dark. You couldn't see your hand in front of your face.
Right.
And all of a sudden, this car comes out of nowhere and get in front of us. We didn't know what to think. It just so happened to be the police was giving us an escort in.
Okay. Wow.
They gave us an escort in and an escort out. We didn't want to go. We went to take care of business, get back on the bus, and get the heck out of there.
Wow.
That's it.
Wow.
That's it.
And we have a couple more places like that too.
Back then we wasn't really thinking about no race.
Right.
All that stuff.
Right.
We just wanted to play football.
Football. Right.
That's right.
Exactly.
But it was a lot of it out there.
Wow. Man. Hey, man, that's tough. And thank you guys for handling all that in the right way.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you guys went in there, took care of business, and got out of there, right?
Yeah. That was our main goal.
Right. Exactly.
Come on back home.
Come on back home.
That's right.
Man, that's tough. And then it's amazing, right? So when integration started in 1970, I was in the 6th grade.
Right.
And for the first time, white kids came to Spady Elementary. And so that was my last year at Spady. But when you're kids, you don't know racism. I mean, they're just kids. We go to school.
The same thing. We did not know racism.
Exactly. Didn't know anything about it.
We was young.
We was young, man.
Yeah.
And then at Atlantic High School, I think the way was already paved at Atlantic because Yvonne Odom, she integrated Seacrest.
Right.
I think it was in 65, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, something back there.
Right. And then a lot of guys started to go to school at Seacrest before we truly integrated schools. Because we had guys like Ronnie Mack, Rock Matthews, Dennis Matthews, Doug Davis, Simi Taylor, Doug Fashaw. It was a bunch of guys, Ernest Williams, a bunch of guys who went to Seacrest to play football. And I think when we truly integrated, Robert, what that did was help us. Because they didn't have an issue with us, but it wasn't the first time they were in classrooms with black kids, right?
Right.
And so I think that made the adjustment a little better for us at Atlantic. We never had issues. We never had issues. Some of my best friends today are some of my white friends that I went to high school with, right now to this day. We still talk, we still communicate, and we still got that same Delray pride about football that y'all had.
Right.
About Carver, right? Because, football, one thing about the game of football, especially if you are successful and you go through things together, as a group, right? Man, you form this brotherhood, that'll last a lifetime.
That's right. That's
that
right.
Brotherhood, there's nothing more special than that brotherhood, like your football teammates. There's nothing like that.
Right. Okay.
It's not like that.
Like Ed was saying, we didn't know racism. As children, you don't know it. That's something that's taught to you by older adults.
That's right.
And that's why a lot of their children, when they grow up and they go to school with blacks and stuff like that, they realize it's not like they were taught.
There you go.
And they break away from it.
There you go.
Yeah, racism is taught.
It's taught.
They teach you racism,
Now, one of my best friends in the world is a guy who I played college football with at Florida State. He's from Wildwood, Florida.
Right.
And he was taught, and it's amazing. He told me this when I was in college. I was like, "What? Really?" He was taught that we were like animals, and that there's no place to be associated with us. And he said he met me in college, and I never knew that we were buddies as freshmen. And to this day, he's going to be on the show next weekend. Matter of fact, him and a group of guys from Florida State, we're going to all be on the show together.
Right.
But when he came to school and he got to know us and play with us, man,
all that stuff wasn't true.
It wasn't true. To this day, we're like this, man.
That's right.
We're like that, man. And I love him, and he loved me genuinely, right? And so it's not like this great game we play. So man, so let's talk. So now for you, Robert, what team was it? Kennedy because they were in the county, or was it Ely? Which one? What team that you really when you suited up on Friday night, you want to make sure y'all completed the task?
We wanted to beat everybody.
That's right. That's right, Ed Taylor. We wanted to beat everybody.
That's right.
Beat everybody.
That's right.
Yeah, we weren't selected.
That's right. That's it. That's it, right?
It didn't matter what where you from. We want to
win the game. We're gonna win the game. And matter of fact, when you say that, I know that to be true because we were like that, and I know that to be true when I look at the history. And I got to email you guys a copy of this stuff from 1944 to 64, so y'all can have it for yourself, right? Because I'm quite sure you'll see some things in here you don't even know about, right? And so, I mean, it's just the tradition of what we do or what we did in Delray, right? And you look at during our time, we did that. In Atlantic High School, the kids in Delray right now are still playing football on a high level.
That's right.
Right now. And none of them know about us. They see you guys walking the streets of Delray. They see, if I'm down there, put it this way, those kids don't know who I am, right?
Right.
We're talking about years ago. My last football season was 92. How long ago that been? We're going on almost 30 years, right?
That's right.
That was a long time ago. So they don't identify with me. But they can
She's about 74.
74.
74, something like that. I don't know.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Then I played with my pro ball.
You play for the Delray Cyclones?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I was out there with them.
Hey, so let me tell y'all this, man. So when I was a kid, I was dreaming to be Gale Sayers. Me and my daddy was watching a football game one night, and Gale Sayers, y'all know how Gale Sayers was doing it, right?
Oh yeah.
But he was so exciting. I said to myself, I'm gonna be a pro football player like Gale Sayers. So I used to go out in the streets, man, get my t-shirt, put number 40 on it, and put Sayers on the back. And I'd go out and try to fake everybody out, juke them, right? I did it so much, Robert, I got real good at it.
All right.
And so one day I'm playing the streets, and Bump Mitchell pulls up on the side of the road and just started watching the game. And he saw me throw the ball, right? And he stopped the game. He said, Bobby, he said, how old are you? I told him I was 10. He said, well, you want to play football at the Rocks? I said, yes, sir. No question. And he stopped the game head. He lined everybody up and made them start running pass patterns and had me throwing the ball, right?
Okay.
Because he saw me throw the ball. So he's the first person that saw me play quarterback or throw the football. And then when I went to see y'all play Roosevelt at Carver High, man, I can remember this like it was last night. I go to the game, and Penn dropped back the pass, and the rushers on him just like that.
All right.
Penn run to the right. He made a real turn, went to the left. He made another turn, come back to the right. Seemed like he was about 30 yards deep, right? And then all of a sudden, he started running toward the line of scrimmage. And then all of a sudden, he just launched one. And God doggone, Alfonso Wilson caught that God doggone ball.
Yes,
man.
sir.
And
yes,
I said, Robert, that night, I said this. I don't want to be Gale Sayers no more. I want to be Anthony Penn.
That was all right, too.
But that changed my life because I tried to be Penn. I wanted to do everything. So I played quarterback all through the Rocks and all that kind of stuff. And at Atlantic, I played quarterback. But the good thing, at Atlantic, we only had like 28 guys on the roster, so your best players had to play both ways.
Right.
Even though I was a quarterback, I had to play safety, which really benefited me because all the things I did on the offensive side of the ball in high school, nobody recruited them. Well, they didn't recruit black kids to play quarterback at that time, especially in Division I schools. And Barry Hill was always in my ear about playing on TV. He said, Bobby, you need to play on TV. He said, you need to play on TV. He said, you need to play on TV. And so that stuck in my head. And so, but nobody recruited me to play quarterback, in college.
Right.
Well, I had 3 schools who did, but they ran wishbones, and I didn't want to run a wishbone. I thought that was an insult to me, that the only way I'm going to get a chance to play is I got to run the wishbone.
Yeah, you got to run the wishbone.
So, but everybody in the country recruited me to play defensive back. Right? Because my senior year, man, I had like 7 picks, Robert. I put 6 in the end zone. You throw it out there, I'm going to get it. I'm gone. I'm gone, right? So my opportunity came that way. And so I went to Florida State and I played corner. I never played corner until I got to college.
Right.
And so when I talk with kids, and that's one of the things I love to do, really to talk with kids, kind of tell them my story and kind of inspire them. I say, we can have our own plans. All that's good, right? But we got to give God some room to do what He's going to do in your life. Because if you'd have asked me about head, Robert, all right, if you'd have asked me when I was in 5th and 6th grade, what head would do when he go to college, I would say he'll be a defensive end clotheslining people. Right? That's what I would have said. Because I was impressed with how he played defense. But you went to school, and you really your job, even though you kicked in high school, you was one of the best kickers ever kick at Bethune-Cookman.
Yeah, I was pretty good.
You were pretty good, head. You were pretty good.
Yeah, I was the long snapper at Cookman also. The long snapper for punts.
Oh, you did? I didn't know that.
I was a long snapper.
Oh, wow, man.
Snap the ball.
Now that today, those kind of skills today. You'll play 15 years in the NFL.
Yeah.
That's right.
He was a long snapper.
A long snapper, 15 years. And you don't have to be big because, you're going to have to snap the ball. You have to run down and cover the punt. Those guys play 15 years in the league.
Right.
That's right.
But now everything is, if you're a specialist in something, you have a value. You remember, Robert, how tough it was, especially for a guy your size, playing on the line, it was going to be, you were not going to hardly get a chance to play on the line in college. Am I right?
Okay.
Yeah, because unfortunately, that's the way it was. But Bobby, like you, when I was younger, I used to watch Gale Sayers, Jim Brown, all the Power Pack runners. And I said, one day I want to be a professional football player.
Right.
But it never stayed with me.
Right.
With my thoughts through the years.
Right.
And believe it or not, guys that have desires or guys that have talent that's undiscovered, they get looked over or not found out.
Right.
And I believe I was one of those players.
Right.
Because at 5'6.5", 168 pounds, I was built low to the ground.
Right. Exactly.
And as I went through the years, I said, you know what? I should have been a runner. I should have been maybe a halfback or something like that.
That's right.
But no one zeroed in on that.
Right.
And believe it or not, leading up to the last game, and Head can verify this, leading up to the last game, I dreamed about picking up a ball and running it in for a touchdown.
Touchdown? Wow.
But I had never practiced those skills.
Right.
Right.
And Head, on that last play of that last game, that opportunity came, and all I did was jump on the ball because I hadn't had the skills.
Yeah,
skills,
right.
Right there. Head was right there beside me.
Wow.
And said, Robert, why you pick up and run? All I could say, I don't know. But God gave me the opportunity because I didn't have the skills.
You didn't have the skill. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And Head was able to take me all the way to the end zone.
So now you look at the game today, Robert, right? So now let me back up a little bit before I talk about the game today. When I was a kid, when you say football players, everybody say you got to be big. You got to be big, right?
You don't have to be big.
But you don't have to be big. And so people don't know that. And so the thing with me was, I never forget it, man. Remember Grace Lycurgus?
Who was that now?
Grace Lycurgus. She was a teacher.
Yes.
All right. She's my 5th grade teacher, right?
Yes.
And so we were in class the first day of school, and most teachers would do this back then. They ask everybody in class, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And so she went down the rows. I'm on the third row, halfway down the third row, and everything somebody said, well, I want to be a fireman. I want to be a police officer. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a doctor. Whatever they said, she said, oh, that's great. You know, we need more doctors. We need more firemen, whatever. So when it came to me, she said, well, Bobby, what do you want to be? I said, I want to play professional football. And she said this. She responded. She said, well, you're going to need a backup plan. And I'll never forget, the whole class started laughing. Had all of them laugh. I was so mad. I was so angry, and I just kept saying, I'm shaking my head. I'm gonna show all of them. I'm gonna show. It's okay. I'm gonna show y'all. You ain't gotta believe in me. I believe in myself, right?
Amen.
And so the thing I would say, my thought process was good, right? My thought process, it was on it all the time, and I would do anything to get better, right? I mean, I worked on my game. You know, there was a time when I was just starting high school, when all the football players, college players, Barry Hill, they would all come out to Carver, the old Carver, and work out at 4 o'clock in the afternoon in the summer. And I would never miss it. So now I'm working out with Randy. I'm working out with Charles Cornelius. I'm working out with Barry Hill. You dig what I'm saying? And so by being with them, that is really inspiring me more. So I fast forward to, getting all these offers in high school. I go on a visit to Florida State. Now, Robert, I've been the same height I am right now since the 8th grade. I'm 5'11" and a half. I'm almost 6 feet. I've been this height since the 8th grade. I haven't grown half an inch since the 8th grade. Right? So I played high school ball as a 10th grade. I weighed 135 pounds. I'm starting free safety. 135. I graduated 2 years later. I'm 145 pounds. So when I go on my visit to Florida State, the coach who was recruiting me told me this. He said, now, when you go to meet Coach Bowden, I want you to put your jacket on. And he said, whatever you do, don't take the jacket off. And I didn't know why he was telling me that, man. I was like, why I can't take my jacket off, right? And so I'm in the room, and I'm sweating like a dog. And I want to take the jacket off, but I didn't take it off. Now, fast forward to training camp, my freshman year. Now, back then, we used to have to weigh in before practice start. There's a chart. You weigh, and you write your weight down on that thing, right, on the wall. I weigh 145 pounds. I weigh in. Then when I come out of practice, I'm like 135, 136.
Wow.
All right?
You don't sweat it off.
I don't sweat. But see, I didn't notice at the time because Bowden was angry with them because he said, I thought y'all said he was 170 pounds. So the coaches lied and said I was 170, right? I was 145. I mean, soaking wet. Right. So he was angry with them. He said, this kid's a liability. He going to get hurt. And hey, it was about 3 days later. We had an All-American tight end. I knocked him out. I knocked him out in practice. Bam!
Right.
And after that, the rest was history. They ain't said another word about how much I weighed. And I played, as a freshman, I played. And 4 years later, I'm an All-American. I was All-American in 2 sports at Florida State. I ran track too. A lot of people don't know that. I was All-American in track and field. And then I was All-American on the football team, right? And so when I got drafted in 81, I weighed 155 pounds.
Okay. You got to put 10 pounds on, man.
Well, think about it. It has nothing to do with how much you weigh. It has everything to do with your heart. Right. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Robert, you played on the defensive line. You know what I'm talking about. Right. If you got that fire in you, it don't matter. And if you're not afraid of the game, it don't matter how big you are.
Right.
Evander Holyfield is a good friend of mine. And when he turned to be a heavyweight, he was a cruiserweight, then he went heavyweight. He was knocking everybody out in the heavyweight division. But the commentators kept saying, he's not a heavyweight, but he's knocking everybody out. Well, I mean, what does the guy need to do? What does he need to do? He knocked Tyson out. So don't tell me I got to be a certain size. You just got to have a fight in your heart.
Right.
And if you got that, bruh, you got it all.
I'm here.
Yeah, okay, good. If you got that, you got it all.
Yeah.
So that's why I love your story,
Hey, Bobby.
Robert, because you play the line right in the middle. And not only did you have to deal with a center who was probably about 220, you had to deal with guards blocking down on you.
Right, all of that.
You had to deal with all that.
That's right.
But thank God you was the guy who do it.
Yes, sir.
We won state championships with you at that position.
Yep,
That's all I know,
Bobby.
Doc. That's all I know, man.
Hey, Bobby.
That's all I know. And so,
Hey, Bobby. Yeah. My I guess I called him my big brother back then. He would let nobody bother me at all, and that was Eugene Hamlin.
Who's that?
Eugene Hamlin.
Eugene Hamlin.
Yeah.
He told me. I talked to him a few days ago, and he's told me this several times.
Mm-hmm.
He said, Robert, of all the guys I know that I played football with, he said, you got more heart than them.
Wow.
That's what he told me.
Wow.
And I said, wow. He said, because you never quit, you never give up, and you give it all you got.
That's it, man. That's it. See, that's it. It's the fight in you, man. It got nothing to do with how much you weigh. It has nothing to do with how much you weigh. Now, Eugene Hanna, I was going to ask you here, you played with Eugene Hanna?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
No, I did. He was a couple of years ahead of me.
Okay. And I talked with Eugene, and he was the first person to tell me about the old Carver, the old Carver teams, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was the first person. He said, "Man, I'm telling you," he said, "I know the class of '69 and '70 and all that. They were great, but he said you need to look at some of the other Carver teams."
Yeah.
And that's how I come across, some of the stuff that I've come across. And I'm gonna tell you, it makes me excited, man. It just makes me excited when I think about the tradition that we have in Delray.
Bobby, there's a lot more that you don't know and you haven't heard about yet.
Exactly.
In my community, there was a guy named Vincent Nobles.
Vincent Noble. I got Vincent Noble on these papers.
Vincent Noble.
I remember a game I went to, and Vincent Noble was heading toward east goal.
Mm-hmm.
He had caught this pass. He was running. There was one defender between him and goal. He jumped back in the touchdown. He just went over him.
Wow.
And made the touchdown.
Wow.
He jumped him. The stand went wow. They went wow.
Wow. Well, I tell you though, Robert, I'm finding out some things, and man, got me. I'm engulfed. It's like you're breaking up a little bit. Yeah, but I'm just telling you, hey, it's not like that. So I even think about. So we can talk about Vincent Noble. We can talk about Chuck Tripp. We can talk about Bubba Tucker, right? We can talk about James Homer, right? I mean, we got some names.
Bad, man.
We got some people, right?
All those guys was good.
All those guys are really good, right? Slick Bain. I mean, we can go on and on. Dusty Evans, Bump Mitchell.
Right.
I mean, we got a history, and that's why I want you guys on the show, because I want to let everybody experience or get to know about this great history that we have in Delray with our football players. I mean, like I say, it's not new. See, some people think, oh, Delray just got good, man. Y'all have no idea. Delray always been good like this.
Right.
It's what we do. It's what we do. It's what we do. So I was gonna ask you something here. Robert saying he got to get his Wi-Fi thing. But let me ask you something. Robert, you back with us? Hey, let me ask you this. You were a straight-on kicker.
Right.
Right? Now, when you were in high school, did you use a square toe?
Yes, I did.
You did, right?
Yes, I did.
So let me ask you this. Now, pretty much your generation, And then all of a sudden, this soccer style kicking became the new thing, right?
Right.
All right. Are there some advantages or disadvantages in being a straight on kicker as opposed to a soccer style kicker, in your opinion?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I
Right.
don't think so, no.
Right.
Mm-mm.
Well, it's almost like I guess in track and field, right? At one time, people who high jump, they used to do the Western roll
Okay.
or the scissor, right? And then one day this dude invented this Fosbury flop. And then now everybody's still using the Fosbury
Everybody's
flop
doing
to this day.
Yeah.
So I guess it's the same thing in kicking, because when I first got in the league, man, you had guys still kicking straight on. The kicker for the Redskins, Mosley, he was a great NFL kicker, still kicking straight on. But I think when they start to recruit those foreign players like Jan Stenerud and guys like that,
Right.
we start kicking soccer style, and then that thing caught on, and now
Everybody's soccer style.
everybody's soccer style. Nobody's kicking the ball straight on anymore, right?
Right.
Nobody's
right.
kicking straight
No,
on. But let me say this. The guy who kicked the ball straight on still holds the NFL record this day for the longest field goal.
Yeah, who is that? What is that from New Orleans?
That's him, Dempsey.
Yeah, Dempsey from New Orleans.
Dempsey still got the NFL record. A
Mhm.
straight on kicker, not a soccer style kicker.
Right.
Right. And so, I used to punt in high school. Red Odom taught me to punt when I played with the Rocks.
Mhm.
And so I started punting my last 2 years with the Rocks, and I punted all through high school. But that field goal kicking, that place kicking, that's a whole different ball game what you used to do. That's a whole different ball game. Well, listen, guys, man, we got to come on again, and do this again. Man, I love you guys, man.
Right.
Hey, Bobby.
Man, I got to say this. My life was changed forever when I watched you guys play when I was a kid. And listen, it ain't never been the same. And even to this day, I was trying to text Jeremiah. He didn't hear me. I got the old Carver High picture with all y'all on it. And got number 76 down there on the front row, down there on the knee. And I got number 82 sitting back there on the third row.
That's me, huh?
That's you. I know.
Huh?
I got number 76 on the knees, right next to Ricky Grant and Jerry Anderson.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
That be you, Mr. McNair. And then I got you standing here right between Barry Hill and Big Daddy.
Yeah.
Huh? I mean, and so I look at this group, man. I got, there it is right there. All right, Jeremiah, he got it up. So as we look at this picture, Robert,
Yes, sir.
you got the GOAT. I call Greg Dawson the GOAT.
Yeah.
I ain't never seen an athlete out of Delray like Greg Dawson.
Yeah, he was a good athlete.
Yes, sir.
Man, he was a great football player.
Baseball.
He was a greater baseball player.
Yeah.
But hey, one night, Robert Edith brought me to a basketball game. And I came to see you play basketball. Hey, you was on that team.
Yeah.
And I saw Barry play point guard. And I'm like, dang, what can't he do? I mean, he was a great point guard. Now, but Barry Hill light that thing up from the corner. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah,
Barry Hill light that thing. So I look at, we got Greg, we got Juan Cornelius up there. We got Quince up there. I see Artie Johnson. We got Billy Plummer, who was one of the greatest football players of all time, come out of Delray. God rest his soul. Yep. Billy and I came close up here when he was in Atlanta right before he passed. And then number 32, Abraham Wooten.
Yes, sir.
And we got Pop Grover. There was some bad boys right there, man.
Yes, sir.
There was some bad boys right there.
And he was a powerful fullback.
Man, I mean, you think about it, how loaded you were in the backfield. Greg Dawson, Abraham Wooten, Pop Grover, and then Randy Strong was running fullback at time.
Yeah.
So you had those four guys.
Yep.
I never knew Gopher played on the offensive side till his last year.
Yeah, Gopher was a little running back.
Gopher was running back his last year, right? And then, Billy Plummer, man, what can you say? And then you got Alfonso Wilson. You got Head, you got Big Daddy, you got Little Daddy, you got Penn, you got Freddie Grice.
Oh, we had some weapons out there.
And this is an all-star team.
Yeah, we had weapons.
This is an all-star team. Dexter Josie, Donald Hunt.
There's one guy you can have on there, and that was Big Smoke. Big Smoke was bigger than Dexter Josie.
Yeah, Big Smoke was on his team, but he wasn't in this picture that day.
Right.
Big Smoke was a tough character.
Big Smoke was a bad dude, man.
Yeah, man.
Big Smoke was a bad dude. And so when I look at this, man, listen, I carry this picture in my phone everywhere I go. So if I get in conversation about it, I say, let me show you the greatest high school team of all time, right? and I talk about you guys. I'm telling you, this is no joke, Robert. I talk about y'all all the time.
Pretty good.
So listen, man. Hey, guys, thanks again for being on the show, man. Love having you. We'll do this again one time soon, right?
Right.
And
right.
And we'll have some fun with it. I had Big Daddy was on not long ago, and of course I haven't seen Big Daddy since he left Delray, pretty much, right? And I mean, you guys are special. So listen, guys, that's our show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. If you like the show, like it, share it, comment. This is the 100 Yards of Football, and our legends out of the great Delray Beach, Mr. Clarence Head Robinson and Mr. Rob McNair. Guys, thanks again for being on the show.
All right, Bob.
Thank you very much for having us.
Hey,